All right, let me get back to my screen. Let me stop looking at pornography and no. Ready? Go ahead.
So I'm Wes with Casey Care.
And I am Ace with Ace_Wild on Instagram. Follow me. We're joined by three incredible guests. Let's start with our screen at the top right corner. Anton, will you introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Antoinette Washington with the Revolutionary Black Panther Party and the Ministry of Social Affairs, also with Creative Innovative Entrepreneurs, which I'm executive director of that as well, and also a part of the House's task force with the mayor's office and the volunteer coordinator in the city.
Was that me?
Awesome. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Leisha. I am with Revolutionary Black Panther Party, and I am the quartermaster.
I am General Indigenous, commander of the Revolutionary Black Panther Party, Kansas and Missouri chapters. We also have the Deputy General, the Deputy Commander of the Revolutionary Black Panther Party, Deputy General Mansa, in attendance.
Oh, awesome.
Hi.
So, Ace, it looks like you already have a card picked out that you have a question, right?
I mean, I always do. I always have questions. So I guess we'll start with Anton. This question is directed towards you.
Really?
How did your parents influence your relationship with money?
Well, not parents, parent. My mom has influenced me with relationship, how to handle money, whether to save and to build your own wealth the way you feel that it should be built. I think that what she did was have us save money in the piggy bank, you know what I'm saying, with a little small piggy banks, you know what I'm saying, that you used to have around the house, or a little glass jar, or, you know, if you cuss or say and do anything bad, you know what I'm saying, put your allowance in this jar or whatever, and it'll accumulate over time. Actually, it'll accumulate within days, hours, because I was so bad growing up. So I had a nice little leg growing up, you know. Also, my mother helped me financially stabilize myself. Just watching her, you know, stabilize herself and putting aside how she wasn't selfish, she wasn't stingy, she was just being content in what we had and was able to maintain what she had and pinch off of the necessary funds that was saved for us as growing up. And we watched her. I mean, you know, mothers are always the best teachers, you know, and as I grew older, it carried on. I mean, throughout my life. I mean, I saved money in several areas of my life, and was able to make sure that as I got older, you know, how was I going to access these funds, or, you know, utilize these funds to reach better heights, to reach or to gain wealth, you know. And I'm still in the process of doing that. But I mean, God has His way, you know what I'm saying, of touching your finances, like your mother has been touched, you know what I'm saying, to help you, you know. So I mean, you know, my finances are very secure. So I'm just happy that my mother was able to hand down some key components or keynotes, you know what I'm saying, or some knowledge to help me maintain.
Great. That's awesome.
It's a version of like generational wealth. Yeah.
Well, you got more than I did, because I grew up with a single parent, just my dad, and he took care of everything and didn't really like teach me the whole financial aspect. And it wasn't honestly mostly until, I mean, teaching, like, told me to save and stuff, but when it came to like investing and like saving for my future, that just wasn't something that we really discussed. Which
my mother, she never invested. She basically kept a big tall like Coca-Cola bottle or something in her room with our money in it. You know, she had 7 kids, so a single mother raising 7 kids. You know, she knew what she had to do. She had to do some great things, saying, to help us realize that, you know, everything ain't always what it seems. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to do better in your life, want to gain and want to receive, you know, you have to take proper precautions. My mother didn't trust banks half the time, you know, so she just kept her money within the house, you know, like my grandmother did. So
I think it's important. I mean, that was a question that I pulled because I wanted to ask. I mean, leading up to our conversation, we're gonna talk a little bit more into that, because I think, you know, money management And financial discussions are a huge part of, at least, my POC culture where, we didn't really talk about things like that. And it was kind of frowned upon. It was kind of shamed. And it wasn't until this past year where my dad passed away, where number one, he was very smart with his money. He did have a financial advisor, a plan, and retirement and 401ks and investments and savings. But that's something that I literally just had to learn this past year, where I was like, I wish that that would have been an open conversation discussion within my family that I would have been able to talk about, because I feel like I learned a lot in this past year, and I just think that it's probably some things that I probably should have learned at a younger age. But also I think it's kind of generationally, it's kind of, a POC thing too, like not being trusting of institutions like banks and things like that. So we'll get deeper into that in just a moment. Wes, do you have a question?
I do. I have a question for Indigenous. It's like, what important truth do you feel do very few people agree with you on?
I'm dead. Let me turn my camera off.
We hear a lot of naysayers, and I'll approach this from a revolutionary standpoint. Our want to believe we care more about police violence than we do community violence. I tell people all the time, the two are synonymous. They're the same, right? Capitalism is a reason for state police or state sanctioned murders, right? And so when we're talking about violence, when we're talking about brutality and murder, we as Panthers, we stand on our 10-point program. Program point number 7, we want an immediate end to police brutality and the murder of Black people. So one of the things that is widely, politicized about the Panther Party is that we are all, we're anti-police. We wouldn't trade one anti-thing for another anti-thing. We're pro-right.
Like power.
I'm saying we're pro-right.
Amen to
Right?
that.
Wrong is wrong. So tolerate murder on nobody's behalf, on a part of anybody. But we do strongly believe that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish. And that's on any level, local, state, and federal. So people will always want to believe, and I'll have to argue with them, that we only care about police violence. We don't. We can oppression in with any color person. We are true proletarians. We are the working class. We are the people, right? So one of the truths that I bring is that we can eradicate all forms of oppression. People seem to believe that because the police got guns and, they got the mayors and city council and things like that on their side, that we can't defeat that system. They say that we can't defeat the system because we come from broken homes and broken communities. I say anything broken can be repaired. Anything that can be prepared or repaired can be prepared.
Right?
Right? So that's the truth.
So how has your childhood or upbringing shaped your sexuality?
Well, that is really tough. So, going through the certain type of areas in my life, not being a single parent, what I'm saying, over at home, I felt as if my mother was my father. She was everything. She was the breadwinner. She was the knowledge holder. She was a chastiser. She was everything that practically shaped my life. You know what I'm saying? Watching her build me, you know what I'm saying, and not only that, but discipline me too as well in areas. And knowing that, not trying to figure out who I was as I grew older, trying to figure out how to live, my life according, if I knew if I wanted to be a female, if I wanted to be a trans woman, a trans woman or a trans man. It was so many, or just a gay man, it's just so many things that's going through my head at the time when I was growing older. In my teens, I didn't even have a clue. I still had a confused state of mind to know about who I was. even going through the certain type of time about my life, you know, being at home with 5 brothers and 2 sisters, you know, and then losing my oldest brother to gun violence, it was something that was heartbreaking to me because he was the only one who I actually understood what I was going through as a young kid. You know, he was the only one that understood, you know what I'm saying, and protected me as a brother, you know what I'm saying, because my other brothers and sisters didn't even know how to handle it. So by knowing that, being able to understand that my sexuality didn't have no bearings into how my life would turn out, for that matter, it allowed me to become more knowledgeable in homosexuality. I mean, you know, people either gonna love you for who you are or they're not. You know, accept you for who you are or they're not. You know, it just, my mother didn't accept me for a while. You know what I'm saying? I understand her. I understood what she was going through at the time, but at every ground level of what my mother was trying to raise, she was just trying to raise a positive household. And she didn't understand such homosexuality at the time we were growing up in that era. And so did I run away? A lot of things I went through. As I ran away, I went through some things, whatever. But where I'm at today, you know what I'm saying, those challenges that I went through, you know what I'm saying, shaped me. You know what I'm saying? I think that the challenge we go through in our households, you know what I'm saying, regardless of if your child is recognizes with a man or recognized with woman, you know, you don't shun them. You basically you embrace them and try to understand it, you know, and then walk with them through it, whether they want to lean towards or they're going through a confused state because they don't understand, don't know. But how it turned out, you know what I'm saying, I'm a great man, a great gay guy, or great person with feminine traits or feminine attributes. I don't care. It's just the fact that my mother loves me now, you know what I'm saying, and she loves me for who I am, because she's accepted the fact that, you know what I'm saying, where I'm at in my life. You know, she has allowed my background to shape me. I allow my past to fuel me. I allow the surroundings to be able to pan out, you know what I'm saying, to the point of making me a stronger and better person, you know what I'm saying, in the community. And so I that's the reason why I can resonate with so many people, you know what I'm saying, whether it's in sexuality, whether it's in heterosexuality, whether it's in homelessness, whether it's in, you know what I'm saying, being raped, however, being in a single home. I mean, I can resonate with so many people. That's the reason why I'm involved with so much. And being in that single family home, sexuality, where my brothers and sisters didn't even understand and know about, you know what I'm saying, or didn't want to be a part of being my life. I knew that I was going to be special. I knew that I was going to be different, you know, and sitting here today in front of all of you guys, you know, it allows me to become more evasive in my life, and more, but with prudence and beautiful personalities and characteristics. So, I mean, you know, did it shape my life to a T? No, it did not, but it's shaping my life for the rest of my life. And I appreciate, you know what I'm saying, that my mother did do the best she knew how, okay? Because the rest was shaped.
Exactly.
Oh no, it's just something that as a Black gay man, you know what I'm saying, as a Black gay man with feminine traits, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, you know, we were Black once, and then we were gay next, you know what I'm saying. There's 2 strikes against us. The third strike, it won't be a third strike with our kind. It will not. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying, because we have been through too much. We have accomplished too much. We have endured too much. You know what I'm saying, and we deserve a lot. You know, and being my mother, my father doesn't he didn't like me. He didn't like the way that I came out because I look just like him. He didn't understand the fact as to why, you know what I'm saying, because he wasn't in my life. That is the reason why. Yeah. But God has a way of putting us in bodies where He wants us to touch lives. You know what I'm saying, in ways, regardless of your sexualization, you know what I'm saying, or anything. I mean, or your intensity for that matter. You know, I am gay for a reason. I am here. You know what I'm saying, and I'm proud to be who I am today.
Black Bear.
Black Power.
I like that.
I know.
It's incredible. I mean, so that's a question that I have too. Moving back towards, I know that we spoke to Elise the other day to come on and wanted to bring everybody on and discuss, you know, racial justice, racial injustice. I think part of it too is the revolutionary Black Panthers that are going on now. I did notice, trying to look through a little bit on social media, that the Facebook page is fairly new, created, just to educate me a little bit and maybe people that are watching and listening. Is the Black Panther chapter in Kansas City new? How long has it been going? What are some of like the mission statements and visions of everything?
Gotcha. Great question. Our military mission, we are a people's army. Without an army, our people have nothing. And so we stand on the shoulders of tradition and history with a 10-point program. The Panther Party was originally founded in Oakland, California, October 16th of 1966. But we talk about 1966 like, you know, the conversation about, you know, community violence, Black on Black crime, brutality on the part of police, murder on the part of police. These are not new conversations. And so the Revolutionary Black Panther Party isn't new, it's necessary. It's a part of an ongoing conversation. You know, as Revolutionary Black Panther Party members, we say that the revolution this time always comes around. But this time, this is when opportunity meets preparation, right? And so many times what you've seen, we were started in 66. The Panther Party kind of fizzled out. The original Panther Party kind of fizzled out in the mid 80s, either through the members being jailed, exiled, or in prison, right? But when you do that to people psychologically, you say, well, if I stand in the gap for my people, if I become the vanguard for my people, the voice for my people, I'm going to meet one of those three fates. And so not a whole lot of people would like to pick up the mantle. Well, the Revolutionary Black Panther Party members, we stand on those shoulders and we do pick up the mantle and we do carry this conversation forward. And so why is the Black Panther Party necessary? You know, the opposite or the anti-question is, why is police brutality necessary? Why is it necessary that we have to live in communities that where we don't control our own police? Why is it necessary that we're pulled over by officers that we know have killed members of our community and still on the force? Why do we get, our heart begins to palpitate when we see lights and sirens behind our cars? You understand what I'm saying? So the conversation is not new, but our military mission is first and foremost, all power to the people. Secondly, our military mission is to clothe, train, feed, shelter, protect, and defend our people. And we say that for Black people in particular and poor people in general, because we identify this struggle as a class struggle. And so, like I said, we wouldn't trade one form of oppression for another, one form of racism for another. We truly believe in all power to the people, and where there's people, there's power. And so the Black Panther Party all around the world is doing just this. We create survival programs. Intellect. We have a domestic violence women and children safe home program going on. We have a youth program that we have Stop the Violence rallies that we participate at. We invite the public into our meetings on the second and fourth Saturday from 1 to 1:30. We hold revolutionary for those that are not the Revolutionary Black Panther Party is, or the Black Panther Party as a whole. You as a member of the public or a person that is not familiar with that history can join and learn revolutionary theory, because we believe revolutionaries must possess three things: practical knowledge of history, a good grasp of the practical, and possess revolutionary theory. So we study Mao, Chairman Mao Zedong. We study Frantz Fanon, Black Skin, White Mask, or Wretched of the Earth. And we also go through studies of Che Guevara, Ernesto Che Guevara. And we also study the likes of Jomo Kenyatta, those who have liberated their people. We study that, and that's our blueprint. And that's what you have in the Revolutionary Black Panther Party.
So these services that you're providing, are they like free to the community? The one you're talking about that happens on, you say Tuesday afternoons, is that right?
The Revolutionary, let me take my mask off because I'm not around anyone now. The Revolutionary Theory class is where we educate. And right now we're on quotations by Mao. That happens every Wednesday and Thursday starting at 7:30. Now my comrades know that I'm long-winded and I like to talk my shit. So they try to get me off by 9. They try to get me off by 9, but we sometimes go a little bit over, just a little bit, and they grant me that grace. So Revolutionary Theory, we're in quotations by Mao now. The next book that we'll go to is Frantz Fanon. a world-leading psychologist. He teaches us how to decolonize our mind and work with the math, and even working with people that don't necessarily agree with how we're getting there, but agree with our goal, right? So building a rainbow. So yeah, we have a lot of meetings, and people can follow us, Black Panther Party KCMO chapter Facebook page. We have an Instagram page out there. And yeah, so we have a lot of programs, and they're not dogmatic. They're much needed. Just like our first wave in was the homeless to home journey, which metastasized into the warming centers, right? Worked very closely with Anton. I authored the program and the entire structure that was ran down there. And we didn't do that without first going to get experience. Isn't that right, Brother Anton? We went and lived on the streets for 6 days, fully immersed, in order to understand this problem. And it was inclement weather. We were one of the first houseless people in the houseless experience, rather, to go through the warming center structure. So any problem, domestic violence, women's shelters, you ask the members of this party about their childhood. Each one of us can identify domestic violence. Each one of us has personally touched community violence. So we are the people that are correct and necessary to write these programs, run these programs, and police our own communities.
Right, you have the lived experience that you can like
Absolutely.
share what you've learned, for sure.
From birth, absolutely. We are born leaders.
As an organization, if there are any, like, what are some of the core challenges that you've faced or that you've like come against with like the Kansas City chapter?
Challenges is that the media is excluding us from our people, keeping us hidden. Like I said, we were at the warming center, so you got to imagine we had conversations with Mayor Lucas and the likes, you know, Brian Platt, city managers, this, you know, all members of government. And not one time have we heard anything good about us from any of those people. We've had media reporters coming out, taking pictures of us, writing stories about us, and we've never seen ourselves on the news. But, you know, let us go and present ourselves as an armed demonstration at one of their homes. That's the first thing that's going to be in the news. So the challenge is the white power structure. They know that we're here. They're wanting to subvert our efforts, either covertly or right in your face. So that's the challenge. Even the community buy-in. And I got to take accountability because we do self-criticism in these moments. We don't come from a pretty history. People were trying to figure it out as they were the vanguard for their people's liberation, as they took up the mantle for their people's liberation, the struggle, right? We learned there, you know, women were silenced, you know, their voices wasn't heard. We our history. A lot of, you know, we were recruiting, we were about quantity as opposed to quality of person. So we're learning from our history. We're learning from the perils that the founders befell, so that we are not befalling the same thing, that we're more progressive when we're picking up this mantle, right? And so what are our challenges? Recovering from our past. When you say Black Panther, people automatically think terrorists, extremists, hate, anti-white. We're not anti-anything except for anti-wrong.
I was telling Ace that, you know, I had mentioned that we were having an interview with, you know, the Revolutionary Black Panther Party, and the work that, you know, talk about what you're doing in the community and about upcoming events and things like that. And the advice that I was given was, be careful with that group. You don't want it. And I was like,
Well, and my conversation,
like, wow.
yeah, my conversation with Wes about that too is because like I wrote a bunch of questions because, you know, we wanted to be prepared, and some of them, like, definitely having conversation around anything that is like racially motivated, justice charged, anything like that, like, it's always very delicate because, you know, even wanting to have this conversation this month with a few people locally, it's like we don't want to have just all Black voices or brown voices, because that always puts that burden of proof of education, of having to explain and explain and explain, but also, you know, being careful of the narrative that we even share with like our POC brothers and sisters of like how we want to talk about this, because it can be very pitted, very aggressive, or very hostile, or very all of this, like, and like the perception or the optics where people will be viewing it. And that's definitely not what we want to do. But also even talking to some of our white friends, you know, that are in interracial relationships, are, you know, grew up, you know, in a very like open-minded like scheme of like how our culture is, and maybe even talking to some white people that kind of only grew up with white people and trying to figure out that dynamic, that balance, and all these things. And it comes down to too, you know, like when he came over this morning, I was very like nervous, and I was like, you know, I think my nerve today was going to be talking to y'all about this and like what that structure looks like, because you know, I definitely want to have questions, and also hearing like people that we've told, you know, be careful about that group. But then I told Wes, there are people that we're friends with that say the same thing about us.
Yeah,
that we're too loud, that we're too vocal, that we say things that we shouldn't say, or like, you know, and I'm like, the reason why I think that we've gotten picked up by so many people talking about us is because we talk about things that people are too afraid to or too like scared to talk about. And it's important to have those conversations. So having
Fair to the
conversations,
people.
yeah, having conversations like this, you know, and like even in my perception, I'm not super knowledgeable. I tried to watch a couple of documentaries this past week on Black Panthers and that movement, but also too, like even watching some of that, there was a lot of memories that brought up casually growing up, because I grew up in a predominantly white place. I feel like to most of my friends, I'm kind of whitewashed or whatever in some aspects, but like I grew up with a single parent father. So my experience are on like that spectrum, but my father also, from growing up really young, worked in the onion field. So my father's, he was very, very dark skinned. Like multiple times in school, I would have friends be like, oh, I didn't know your dad was Black. And I'm like, he's not Black, he's Mexican. But he just presented so dark that people thought. And as I grew up, like I could see people treating him differently. And so those would kind of open up conversations with me and my father talking about these things. And I'm 40 years old, so I've lived a lot of life, but also like watching some of these documentaries about Black Panthers, like it really triggered a lot of things that inherently, that I don't know if my dad was a part of those things, or I mean, he grew up in that time era, but like some of the things like I was watching, I was like, my dad told me those things. And like somewhere inside of me it was instilled and ingrained. And also maybe just like him growing up in that time era and like having those experiences like led me to come to this show 40 years later and be like, let's be loud, let's have these conversations, and let's like, and the reality is like revolution and change doesn't happen by being meek, by sitting alone, by being quiet. Like
by
change,
tweeting, it doesn't happen by tweeting.
yeah, change happens when you're loud. And unfortunately, when you're loud, people that don't agree with you, they want to write you up as aggressive or scary, or you know, put you in this whole box of like, well, there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way, and this is the wrong way. And I'm like, I was telling Wes, sometimes asking for something over and over politely, with the veil of your head and, you know, like linen gloves and asking for things isn't going to get you what you want. Sometimes taking off the gloves and be like, bitch, give me, like, demanding the things that you want is what's going to get you what you want.
You know,
and we saw that in the George Floyd trial, right? So many other people were George Floyd's before George Floyd and did not get that outcome. That outcome only came because the world stood up and the world was watching. So like we always say, where there's people, there's power. That didn't take any vote. That didn't take getting a special person in. That happened in a courtroom, an isolated event. But everybody that falls under that pretense and those circumstances deserve that outcome. We're not saying that people don't do things wrong and that our people in our community don't deserve to be jailed or locked up if they've broken the law. What we are saying is cops don't deserve to be jury, judge, and executioner. They're there to effect an arrest, right? So that people can go and stand before a jury of their peers as defined in the United States Constitution. Mm-hmm. That's what we're saying. And so, yeah, a lot of people, you know, are going to say things about us, but they're attaching us to a history that's dogmatic. We're more revolutionary. We're more progressive. We're in the now. We understand where we came from. We understand the conversations that were had before us, before we got to this point. So we're going to finish those conversations, but we're also going to speed up and be present in the moment, right? Deal with the issues that are here in the moment. Like Anton and I were saying, you know, it was like, man, should we go and live on the street for 6 days? Because both of us have been homeless at one particular point in time or another, but we both agreed that was some time ago. Being homeless 5 years ago is not being homeless today in 2020 or 2021. So we got to go and feel the pulse of today. And we are feeling the pulse of today. And what we see is that our people are dying.
You know, 16 people plus people every month will be killed here in Kansas City. Community violence. Number one leading cause, domestic violence. That's why we wrote a domestic violence women and children safe home program. We also we have a jail diversion program called Fund to Mental. We have a meeting with the Jackson County Sheriff and the Jackson County Prosecutor. So while they're telling people not to meet with us, they are meeting with us and they can't run from us, right? Gary Taylor passed away or was executed on 18th and Vine last Sunday. Who is the 18th and Vine calling out to patrol that area and do community policing? It ain't KCPD. It's the Revolutionary Black Panther Party. We're being validated by members in our community. And so they can hide us all they want to, but Black Power is now a business. Like Fred Hampton Sr. said, you can jail a revolutionary, but you cannot jail a revolution. So we are a business. This is the Revolutionary Black Panther Party, LLC. So Black Power and Black Uplift is a business now. So we're not only members, we're employees.
Right.
So one of the things that that really when you say one of the statements you made, it says don't mess with them. You know, over the course of time, and as I've known it, as we have all known it, people hate what they cannot conquer. Okay, people hate what they cannot conquer, and when they hate, when they cannot conquer it, they come after it. They try to put us on the back. They try to put us on a back burner. You know what I'm saying? Try to cover us up somehow, some way. Don't try to put us in the limelight. But we're here. We're here to stay, and we're here to present ourselves in the right manner. You know, and by us being that, by us being who we are as a Revolutionary Black Panther, and then many things that, you know what I'm saying, that comes after that. You know, we are gaining momentum. You know, and we are also gaining our favorite allies, you know what I'm saying, that we need in our day-to-day revolutionary, you know what I'm saying, pathway. You know what I'm saying? As we walk, they walk with us. We can't just sit back and, you know what I'm saying, allow these things to continue to go on because our youth community is looking. They're watching. You know what I'm saying? And they want something better than themselves. They want something better than what they're in. And so in order for us to build, you know what I'm saying, don't try to conquer us, join us. You know what I'm saying? Because it's only gonna be revolutionary. You know what I'm saying? Because like he said, you can't jail a revolutionary. I mean, come on now. I mean, what that look like? You know what I'm saying? Change is inevitable, okay? It is inevitable. And it's gonna evolve and evolve and evolve, but it's only gonna get greater and greater. You know, whether it's with the gay community, whether it's with the Black community, whether it's with the white community, it's gonna get better and better. And we need to build instead of tearing down. Okay, and as we build, guess what? We have a better outlook and chance. You know what I'm saying? And having a better future for our other generations to come. All this shooting, all this, you know what I'm saying? It has to cease. It has to come to a standstill. If you're tired, then guess what? Join in, join the fight to help vanquish it.
I think, you know, that touches on what Alicia is doing with, you know, bringing her, you know, her event being a part of the Revolutionary Black Panther Party, and sort of like, you know, making a space for other organizations to be a part of it. But I'll let Alicia like speak to like what you hope this event brings to your community, like by having it.
Peace.
Yeah.
Peace, and some type of hope to end it all. Like, let's just come together and let's make some noise.
Right.
Let me just give, being in the LGBT community and being an activist, you know what I'm saying, in this LGBT community, it does not only just affect our Black community, it affects all of us. And I mean, it affects all of us, it affects all of us as a whole. We stop, think, and breathe. This initiative, this event that's coming up, you know what I'm saying, on May 29th, it's gonna be a phenomenal one. It's gonna be informative. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be informational.
You do it right.
It's to help build us as a unit. You know what I'm saying? There are several types of communities in this city. Yes, indeed. But we can stop whatever is going on that's affecting, because when one person gets shot, it's a ripple effect. It's a ripple effect to all of us. You know what I'm saying? On both sides. You know, when a black man got killed over here off of Independence Avenue, you know what I'm saying, by BP, you know what I'm saying, just yesterday. You don't know they don't know if they have the right individual, but they just went ahead and shot a man because he was carrying a rifle. Come on now. I mean, there's other ways, you know what I'm saying, we can diffuse and de-escalate situations without death. You know what I'm saying? Okay, without a loved one being lost or whatever, because he could have kids, he can have this, he can have that going on in his life. However, there are other ways. You know, we don't have to continue to kill off America, you know, American people, just because they have what they feel what they need to protect each other. You know, we have to educate these communities with the right proper information. You know, so they can be able to be safe. You know, yesterday we were on site. You know, and did it take me for a loop? Yes, because you just killed a armed black man because you drew your gun. He's gonna draw his. Of course, he's gonna protect himself. You know,
And we live
in this community. Say what?
And we live in a constitutional carry state. We have the right to bear.
Hell yeah. It's important for us to protect each other. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we can't
educate.
allow our system to defame, demoralize, decharacterize us. We have to decriminalize this system. We have to defund this system somehow, some way, to the point where they won't feel as much power as they have been getting over the last centuries, over the last decades, over the last years or months, because it's definitely making it seem as if we as a people is getting stronger by the moment. But however, how we pick up the momentum is how we carry that momentum. And revolutionarily, you know what I'm saying, we have to be for certain, you know what I'm saying, how we move is in the appropriate way. Because like you said, we're not anti-nothing. We pro-right. We say what's wrong, what's right is right. And we want all our peers to judge those who have come, you know what I'm saying, to criminalize, or excuse me, not criminalize, but to take a life, or to steal, rob, however, whatever crime you commit, you have to face it. You say that's the only way you're gonna find yourself accountable, to be held accountable for your actions. You know what I'm saying? I've served my time. You know what I'm saying? When I was with the judge who threw the book at me, you know what I'm saying? Because of my skin color, even though it was a small little itty bitty crime, but you know what I'm saying? The thing about it is, he threw the book at, they'll throw the book at somebody that's a skin color, or people of color. Let it be somebody white, I guarantee you they're gonna get 10 months, a year and a day in jail, or 30 days in jail, or whatever. Let it be somebody black, okay? They're gonna get 7 years, 10 years, 20 years for the same crime. That is one of the reasons why we have to step up to the plate. You know what I'm saying? As revolutionary Black Panthers, we have to do something. We have to find a way to decriminalize this system to the point where we can be able to be on top. You know what I'm saying? And we police our own streets. You know what I'm saying? We are able to, you know what I'm saying, come when somebody need to be called, we're called. Okay. So because they don't have to feel like they're have to be in fear. We know how to talk to talk to our people. When the police come, the KCPD come, what they do? They don't bring nobody that is a social worker with them. They bring their gun. That's what they bring. And they end up killing us. And so if you take both sides of the playing field, let's say you take Kansas City, all the violence is going on in Kansas City, all the gun violence is going on in Kansas City, and you take police brutality and their gun killing, you put them together, guess what? It adds up to an astronomical number. Okay? And would you say what?
You still murder pandemic.
What is it? It's on both sides. You can't, as LGBT, as a straight community, as any kind of community, on the east side of the truth, west side of the truth, it's happening everywhere. Either you join the fight or get the hell out the way and let us take over. Period. That's how I see it.
Here's the thing. We understood when the 14th Amendment was passed, we were citizens, has a duty. When a long train use this and they arrive at the same destination in time, it is people's duty to overthrow an oppressive government and set up for themselves. That is a duty. It wasn't a platitude, it wasn't a suggestion. It is our duty, right? We see that our people have long been oppressed. And, you know, we hear about the let's just deal with it in our own backyard, the J.C. Nichols curse. We all understand that curse is still showing or presenting symptoms out here. Impoverished conditions, right? These are the areas where you send the most police. You give us the only answer is ever for us has been more police. Doesn't matter what it is, just more police, never more community. So what Leisha is doing and what Panthers all around the world are doing is finding ways to unite on a common thread, to unite on that thread and struggle from that standpoint alone. So we're multifaceted in that. And then the gift that Leisha does bring, right, is that she is in fact a widow. She is in fact the mother to an orphan of community violence, but she's not the only one. Her day-to-day life is emblematic of any mother, single mother or single parent's everyday life in trying to raise a child that is wondering, where is the other person that is supposed to be helping you? And then when they come to a certain age and they learn that, their question is, why is my parent in the ground, right? But this is the conversation that we got to have. This is the people that we have to see. This is a special population. The widows and orphans is a population that we have to see, and we have to wrap our arms around. Because the life was taken several years ago doesn't mean that the lives that are laying in the wake of that are not impacted. And so we have a young man, we have several young men and women all around this city that are growing up without both members of their family because of community violence, because our inactivity listen, power is by definition the ability to affect the change or outcome of something. Panther point number one, we want freedom. We want the power to determine the destiny of our Black community. That's power. The inability to do nothing is to continue to see widows and orphans. So we don't want any more, right? And these are the same kids that the police are killing, but you don't understand their story. You don't understand how a genogram works. You don't understand how things are transferred from one generation to the next. Community violence is transferred genetically from generation to generation.
Generational curse.
Is bringing attention and awareness to this, accountability to this. This is going to be the first time that we see widows and orphans amassed together and being honored by their community. And we say Black power to the sister.
Do you think the impact of 2020 and George Floyd's murder, coupled with, you know, this outpouring from, you know, the global support that came out from the summer of protesting, like, has that had a positive impact on your group, like, as far as like ensuring like other people join you or seeking you out? Like, how has that response been, or bring about your awareness in the community?
Well, we strongly believe that our people learn best by participation and observation. You know, it's not impressive to see people marching down the street. It's not impressive to see people with berets. It's impressive to see people actually working and create ways where people can join, right? Because not everybody's Black, you know what I mean? And not all skin folk or kin folk. So not everybody's cut out to be a Revolutionary Black Panther Party member. However, because we are a business, we can employ people that are non-Black, right? Because we are true proletarians, we do work with a Rainbow Coalition. When we feed the seniors every Thursday from 10 a.m. to whenever time we're done, we have the Wall of Moms coming in, we have Maoists coming in, we have members of the non-Black family coming in and helping us address or mitigate the issues that have been longstanding in our community. And so what has made people gravitate towards us? Our work, our commitment to the struggle. And we say struggle is to forcibly resist against any type of restraint, restriction, or enslavement. And so we're not resisting. We're never resisting. We're struggling. Where we're going to teach our people how to struggle the right way, because we're a political and economic organization. That is our exploitations. We are politically exploited and we are economically exploited. And we are the vanguard. We are the members to call attention to that. So anybody can connect with that. We just find a common thread, and that's why people will want to join.
Oh, so much.
I know, like,
It's not what I expected. I mean, not that I had expectations, but
Instead, it's not what I expected.
what?
It's not what I expected.
It's just like I already have like so many questions, but like even this list of questions, I just have more questions, and I just think that like it baffles me too, because I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know Anton fairly well, and I've worked with him a little bit, and like, very like-minded, very, I don't know, and just to hear about you doing so many things and working so in close proximity with, local leadership or figureheads or whatever, and still to have not heard anything about your organization until recently, and then also too, not really heard you explain in the best light. And then having this conversation is just like, it's so interesting what people like to admit, or people or media chooses what not to say or to say, and how that definitely, even without you wanting it to, can like define a perception or a narrative that you may have about something or someone, which could be completely incorrect. Like, yeah, well, to me, it definitely felt like at the very beginning, like, oh, like they're doing something and like reinventing the wheel that our structure and our society is doing, whatever. But this conversation you're having and hearing the stuff you've done, it doesn't sound like you're trying to reinvent the wheel. It 100 feels like the system that we have in place is doing everything in their power to not change and to not facilitate and make changes to actually help communities and help like people, especially marginalized people, Black people, poor people, queer people. And it's like, it's so difficult for me to like wrap my head around you working with, Mayor Lucas and all of these people and like giving them examples and literally like throwing yourself in this and showing them and giving them the map of how like it could be so much easier and better. And they like just disregard it when it's like, you were elected to like help people, and the people like even did all the legwork for you, and you're still not helping people. And it
Some people will never be satisfied. For one, okay, that's just point blank. That's something that I've have come to terms with. Some people have never come. Some people just are not satisfied. But those that are, that will be able to see what and how we move. You know what I'm saying? So they won't be like, okay, don't mess with them or don't talk to them or whatever. But they see and they know what we're doing, and so as they see us that we are a part, whether like the general said, we are a part of a lot of things. Of the houses community, you know what I'm saying? That's my department. As far as community affairs, you know what I'm saying, social affairs. I mean, we have the secretary, minister of the defense, you know what I'm saying, for training, you know what I'm saying, purposes, you know what I'm saying, and defending. And so he's sitting right there. So I mean, we have the deputy general that steps in when things are not going appropriately, when he steps up and take care of what the general cannot, and talk to our individuals. We have the field marshal that goes out, you know what I'm saying, do certain things in our community and keep everybody on point. We have Miss Sister Leisha. How you doing, baby? She's a very big part of our organization, right along with Sister Naima. We have so many different departments, and we all work together, you know what I'm saying, in a way to build and to move forward. And so are we trying to reinvent the wheel? No. But what we're trying to do with the wheel, you know what I'm saying, is add some different kind of components where it can turn a little faster. You know what I'm saying? Because people may think we have time when we actually really don't. Because at the end of the day, all these things that's going on in our community, we can stop and help, you know what I'm saying, other individuals before there's another committed a crime or committed murder, you know what I'm saying, whether it's by police or whether by one of our own, And so,
you know what? Fuck the wheel. Take the fucking wheel off and let's just see if it deserves to be on this bike, on this vehicle. Right? Our thing is not asking for just change, crumbs, tokenisms. We're asking for the change that we don't have to come back 5-6 years from now and revisit this conversation. That's change. Kansas City, and Anton loves when I say this, so I'll just say it one more time.
Okay.
Has had 3 Black mayors. We have had a chief of police. We have had a Black superintendent. We have had countless members of our Black family serving on city council. Can you tell me why is it that we are still having the same conversation then? Why is it being left up to us to continue this conversation? Why have we had 3 Black mayors in all of the neighborhoods on the east side of True still look the same way as when we lived there? That means there's a child that is growing up the same way that we grew up. I told you, Impoverished conditions, community violence is generational curses. On the west side of truth, they have generational wealth. On the east side of truth, we have generational curses. And we are the people to address that. We are the people to say, you know what, this is really not your fault. We're going to hold ourselves accountable for our part in playing up to this and buying into this system. But crime is a business. And we are the entity that say no more business on the part of anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Indigenous. How would you address the narrative / like historical inequity of being an aggressive or like too radical group?
I say that that's white fear, and we're not here to massage white fear. We understand the Revolutionary War was fought by a younger group of Englishmen fighting an older group of Englishmen. They were fighting against oppression. This is the reason why they wrote the Declaration of Independence. This is the reason why they went to war with the most powerful navy on the planet at that time. They believed in give me liberty or give me death. Abraham Lincoln even wrote it, that people, that government of the people, by the people, for the people shall never perish from this earth. They knew what they were doing. They didn't accept any form of oppression, but they became the oppressors. And so I say, anybody who thinks that, you know, we can just get changed by knitting our oppressor sweaters or hoping that our oppressors will change, that day will never come. It was never set up for us to be liberal. It was never set up in this country for history that we came through to be corrected. And so we have to do it for ourselves. We're not going to the government and saying, hey, look, we want you to defund the police. We're going to create a program that the police are automatically defunded through. We're not going to ask for anybody to play nice. If we got a superintendent in office that is not doing his or her job, or a mayor in office that's not doing his or her job, power truly rests with the people. So we educate the people on how to leverage the vote. If you get somebody in that office, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, duly elected to perform, we'll remove them. And if we can't remove them, because we live from election year to election year, well, in between that time and this time, we'll create a program where we just move all the way around you. Like I said, community policing, we didn't go to KCPD and say, can we community police? We just said that we need it. And we got ourselves in the position to provide that service. And the people naturally gravitated towards it.
Earlier that, so you're working in tandem with like local government to help areas that are, I guess, stricken with gun violence, or like, in what capacity are y'all working with the communities?
So as the Minister of Social Affairs, Anton, has pointed out, anytime that there's a violent crime in our community and we're aware of it, we pull up. You know, I'll harken back to maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were in a meeting and we found out there was a shooting, and the information was misrepresented because we heard it was an 11-year-old that was shot on 39th and Jackson. When we got there, it was a grown man that was shot over a pickup game of basketball. After they left police detainment, we had an opportunity to meet with the family and really get it through to the family, their buy-in to how is going to hit different. I told the family, or we told the family, hey, look, if you don't retaliate, because we know you know who did it. If you don't retaliate, we're going to hold a stop the violence barbecue over here, celebration over here in your name, in your honor. But we have got to get it through to you that you cannot go out to the end of your life. We are going to be accountable. We're going to hold that person accountable, and we're going to make sure for justice. And as a matter of fact, the family was so moved that they started asking for applications to members of the Revolutionary Black Panther Party. So it's not that we have to go out and politicize what we're doing. Our people need it. We're moving in a position to be able to do that. We have law on our side. So we have people that you can be legally, and you should be responsibly armed, right? And you should be concerned, right? And so you can do this. Anybody can do this. You just have to give a damn. So you're asking for specifics, right? Our community watch program, it says in a little bit, it says that when violent in our community takes 3 or more lives in any calendar month, community centers opened up for 24/7. We got to give our youth somewhere to go, as opposed to going to a club or going to a mall fight Open up the community centers. We want more community. We want safe sites where children will be able to learn civics, financial literacy, self-defense, gun rights and responsibilities. They can learn that too. How to leverage the vote, social and emotional intelligence, Black pride, self-awareness, and all of that, the whole nine, the whole gambit. Everything that you will need to teach your child to join the proletarian struggle, to be a leader in the proletarian movement, in the revolutionary movement. Also, what we say, we want guardian zones. We want well-lit areas along 71 and throughout the Black community, well-lit areas where we control the cameras. So when a person is pulled over, you have an area where you'll know that your community is watching, right? And where police officers can be watched in the performance of his or her duty. So there is no more brutality. There's a deterrent to that. Because we stand on Missouri Revised Statute 571030, says that we can discharge our weapons in the defense of ourselves, in the protection of ourselves and another person or property. And we are prepared to do that. We're not confused about our duty. We're not the protector and the killer. We're just the defender. That's it. We're the deterrers. That's it. We are the element that deters furtherance of violence, police brutality, and police-involved shootings that lead to murder. Right? So we need community police, Wes and Ace, because Rick Smith is still on the force. Brad Lemon is still in a fraternal order of police. We still have cops that kill people in our community still on our force. So why don't we need community police?
I am.
I want to talk a little bit about the event that you have posted promoting ending gun violence that's happening on May 29th. I did want to talk and ask too, like, is there, besides just like bringing community together with some food, some music, some, bouncy houses, cool stuff like that, is there going to be anything else implemented to support the promotion of ending gun violence? Are there going to be petitions, any kind of gun education, any kind of counseling therapy?
The Revolutionary Black Panther Party will be down there, will be set up as well to give out any or to offer any information. Like brothers and big sisters that'll be coming out giving some information or just assisting families that maybe the kids need some assistance in the home. I've spoken with them and they basically just help out during Christmas time and holidays, and they give a lot of help in the community. They actually helped me and my family out. I know this counselor that he works with, he's a site counselor. I can come out and speak as well. And just to promote this, the whole thing is just to give for informational basis. I want everybody to come out and enjoy and have a nice time. At the end of this event, everyone that I have offered or asked is just for the informational part of it, because I know that that was one of the things that I lacked when my son's father was killed, was just informational parts, and especially like the counseling and the groups ad hoc when they provided a Christmas dinner for us, and they my son was able to get out the prison and spend time with Santa Claus. And
we're getting with other organizations to help build and be out here during May 29th to help spread the word on how to stop violence, how to come together as one people, and make sure that we are teaching our young ones, and we have to, because it's not the gun, it's the person behind the gun that is actually killing the individual person, and you have decisions in your life. You don't have to kill someone because they said something disrespectful. We handle things with our hands. Or let's box if you feel like if you're that frustrated. Let's open up these community centers around the metropolitan area. You know what I'm saying? They have boxing rings. You know what I'm saying? That can be able to give them some frustration to release that anger. Let's get these kids in some beautiful anger management classes, courses that can maybe so they can be able to resonate, with individuals, not from a textbook perspective, but from individuals who actually been through anger management. exactly experience and know how to deal with it. Because the first thing that people look for is, okay, that our generation, the generation now look for, oh, you're about the books, you know what I'm saying, about the books, and they're gonna play you, you know. And so you have to pinpoint, you know what I'm saying, on how to approach, you know. And when you learn that significant technique on how to approach someone, person of color, of these youth, as this new generation, guess what happens? You're resonating. They're trusting you. You're hitting the core, you know what I'm saying, of what they're going through, and you can help walk them through that, and you change someone's life. Now, is it gonna happen overnight? No, but one thing it will happen. That seed will be planted, you know, and when that seed is continuously nourished, guess what? I mean, you have to see the ingenuity of birth rehappening, renewal. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes, sir.
And some people may not understand it, but guess
Which I
what? We're here to make you understand it and let you and give you the information so you can understand it. Okay. We're not going to leave their side. We're not going to sit behind a computer. We're not going to sit behind a desk. We're going to walk with you. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a support system. So, so we're working with people of that nature. Like, pretty soon, here come tomorrow, I'll be reaching out to parents of murdered children. We're having a meeting with children of homicide victims, which is Sunny Carney, which is the president and CEO. I'm saying the same. She's been through some the same similar actions as Malachi, which is Alicia's son's situation. We're working with the Justice and Divinity Center. We're working with Miss E. Ellington, Miss One Stop Ministry. We're working with a few other organizations around the metropolitan area to help try to bring awareness to this topic, because it's a dire need that is needed, and we're trying to see the murder rate raise and continue to rise. You know, because I mean, they're killing our babies, they're killing our generations off. They don't even have a chance to live or know any kind of experience on how to live. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because we are here. The first thing out their mouth is saying, well, the OGs left us. No, we're not. We have not left you. You know, we just backed up a little bit because let's see, because sometimes you have to bump your head. But now we are stepping back up to the plate to help you and let our generation know, like, look, we here. You know what I'm saying? We understand. We went through the same thing you went through. So let us help you. You know, let us guide you a little bit more, so you can be the next general of
the healthy way.
The president, the next few doctors, you know what I'm saying, that will help gain salaries and help save people's lives. You know, the counselors that will help save people from total damnations when they're going through mental crisis. You know, things of that nature. I mean, it is important that we are teaching and educating our young people in these communities, because if we're not, then they will continue to go to spiral down in the same cycle. You know what I'm saying? From years to come, decades, centuries, and we're trying to break that. You know, because it is a generational curse. You know, my sister broke that generational curse in our family, and we are no longer we're no longer astray. We're no longer fighting each other anymore. We're a loving family now. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, you know what I'm saying, my mother sees, and she is stronger than ever, and she looks so young, and she was looking so tired from seeing and stressed out by her 6 kids that she has. You know, we have to build them up. We cannot continue to tear them down, even in these broken homes that are out here. That's what pushes them out to the streets. That's what pushes them into gang affiliations, into gun violence. You know, because they feel so, okay, I love a gun. Okay, but do you know how to carry and conceal one? Do you know the education behind a gun? Do you have the ability to learn what is needed? You know, that is basically giving a person the ability to the reason why they're hosting or being able to have the gun in their possession. You know, a gun is always fun. You can always utilize other forms of tactics and tools and techniques to diffuse anything. Violence is not always key, you know, because it separates us and divides us, you know, in every community. And does it just happen in Black communities? No. You know, it's going to happen everywhere. You know, and since the George Floyd era, it has brought a lot to the light. You know, it has brought a lot to every topic in Kansas City. Every narrative that has been written, every narrative that has been stated, it has brought so much light. You know, from the killings of the trans women and trans men, you know what I'm saying, to the killings of our Black young people, to even the young kids in Canada that's being killed, you know what I'm saying, by their own parents, you know, and to sacrificing to sacrifice our lives, you know what I'm saying, in the essence of where we're coming from and where we're at and where we're trying to go, is try to eliminate that, you know, at all costs. It's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen over time if we stand together.
I love that. I think it's powerful that taking that, you know, that cycle of oppression and pain that has been just continuously recycled in the community, right, and saying that it stops now, and it stops.
And trying to turn it into power.
Exactly. We can talk about it. We can name it, and if we can name it, we can stop it. And I think that's
identify. Yes.
Yeah, that's powerful. And I hope that with your continued work in the community, that other individuals see that and they're able to stand, you know, arm in arm with your organization to bring about that change that is so needed in all of our community, not just in your community alone, but in all communities.
Right. I agree. I had a young lady reach out to me. I don't know if I've told you all that before, but it was actually a boss of mine that I had no idea. Her grandfather was murdered, and she was a Caucasian woman. So when I asked her to be a part of this Stop the Violence Vanguard summer feast, I had no idea that it would touch her the way it did. Like, me and her sat up on the phone for over almost 2 hours just talking about how much it affected her and things that I didn't even know, or she didn't even know that I was going. So, and I guess, you know, when I joined the Revolutionary Black Panther Party, I've always wanted to find a place. You know, I've always been a revolutionary by soul because I like to people writing. That's just how I was raised. But I've always wanted to find a way to give back to these individuals who have experienced these things that I've experienced. To my son asking, I have a 1-year-old as well, to my 5-year-old whose dad is killed to gun violence, asking, well, Mom, why don't my dad come and pick me up? Where is he at? You know, and it's just trying to unite with everybody that's dealing with that pain and come together sort of like a one happy family, and let's get together and let's create change and make a big bang. Let's make some noise because enough is enough.
You know, and I, man, Alicia, I resonate with you on everything that you're going through, you know what I'm saying, and have been through, you know what I'm saying, and we have to make the best of what we have now, okay, and then formalize it, you know what I'm saying, in any and every formula that allows us to bring out a better outcome. You know, we have to learn how to harness that positive energy and utilize that positive energy to be able to disrupt and break up the ground of depression, oppression, and suppression. You know what I'm saying? Because we're all those three words are not positive words to have, you know, because I mean, we it's happened over our lifetime. It's happened over a time period, for 400 years, even longer than that, you know, and we cannot continue to allow things to engulf us to the point where we think that we are the product of our own environment where we come from, and we're not. You know, we can move, we can do this, we can learn, we can evolve, you know, and utilize that information to change narratives in other communities, you know, and we have to do that in somehow, some way, whether it's gay, whether it's straight, whether it's a white, whether it's Black, whether it's Hispanic, whether it's Chinese, Asian, however, but it has to begin, and it has begun, and it will not end until it has been eradicated somehow, some way, in a smaller and bigger percentage. Black power.
Black power.